I just thought to kick things off, it would be useful to take a look at some data. I think that sometimes it can be a little bit hard for people to get a sense of what the various app stores provide, what the benefits of each one are. And everybody has a general sense that well, Apple's so much bigger than the others. In fairness, I don't have any data that's going to conflict with that, but I thought it would be useful to frame it in some figures at least. So these are Storytoys figures, but certainly most people that I've talked to, and as we all know, it's a pretty friendly community. Most people I've talked to, their data more or less corresponds. So I've taken out actual currency numbers. Everything's expressed in percentages, so this is all fine in terms of YouTube and all that kind of thing.
Okay, thank you.
So first off, I wanted to look at our relative sales across stores. So specifically across Apple, Amazon, and Google. So this is, just to take one example, we took this is a branded app, the sales in the first week. So on iOS, we were not promoted, and we went out with a full price app at, I think, $4.99. Google Play, we got full promotion, and we dropped our price to $1.99. Amazon, again, we were fully promoted and dropped the price to $1.99. But you can see, even with no promotion and no price drop, we're still, Apple still made up the majority of sales in that launch week. And it was a reasonably successful launch in that it was a title that was, I guess, with the app stores, people don't go in and search for things unless they know exactly what they're looking for, or unless they're searching for brands.
Do you want to not say what brand it is?
It doesn't actually matter. It was Chuggington, which was a British television show, which actually, it had at that point in time, it was just I think just launching in the US. So
showing units or revenue?
That's revenue.
Okay.
So the lack of price drop on iOS would help a little there.
Okay.
So then we move on to non-branded product. So this launched about I think it was within a similar time frame, certainly within a month. And basically, we were promoted on iOS. We were promoted on Google. We weren't promoted on Amazon. But you can just see once that Apple promotion kicks in, everything else is to work. These were both successful product launches, but you can just see the sort of the relative amounts. Again, it's by revenue rather than unit. The other thing to consider is piracy rates. So we measure unique app activations, and then we have obviously reported installs from our sales revenues and all of that kind of thing. Our data that comes through directly from the stores, and if we compare them, now the one thing is this is not adjusted for multiple devices where people have two iPads or their iPad on their phone, or multiple Samsung devices or whatever, but basically, on iOS, we've a rate of it's pretty wrong to even call it piracy rate, but we've about a 26% piracy rate. But that's effectively mostly caused by somebody having a phone and somebody having an iPad, or a shared household account. So it's a pretty manageable level. Whereas on Google Play, the minimum we would have would be a 76% piracy rate. And there's Snow White, one of our titles, and from launch you can see that we've 2% legitimate sales versus 98% activation. So basically for every one product that we sold, 49 people downloaded it illegally. And again, it's another product that, and there were two of our more extreme products, but you can see that there's just this shocking piracy rate. And the best example of it is if I jump into Google and Google Storytoys, you see that the second result down, Google is auto-suggesting Storytoys APK. So the APK is effectively the file that a user needs to download to use your app on their device. So because of the lack of piracy protection, it's the default behavior. It's not Storytoys Very Hungry Caterpillar. It's not Storytoys Rapunzel. It's Storytoys APK.
So that's what I should search?
That's exactly what you should search. Yes.
Google
Yeah.
will make it easy.
So then one of the other things I wanted to talk about was the sort of international makeup of our sales. So most of our products we do deliver across a number of languages, as many as 8. But we have one product which actually I'll demo at some point over the next couple of days, which is a nursery rhyme product. And as a result of that, we didn't localize it because it's too specific. And it was also a music product, so the localization costs would have been very, very expensive. So it's our only effectively English-only product. So you know, not unsurprisingly, 89% of our sales are in English-speaking markets, with then a scattering of around 10% in other areas. However, with the vast majority of our products, we typically have a makeup more like this. So English is just under half of our sales. So, you know, I think a lot of people, it's easy to have a US-centric view of the App Store, but increasingly, you know, markets like Japan are just phenomenally taking off phenomenally. And you know, you can see even there our German figures on this product. You know, it was 21% of our revenues. So, you know, the European languages are not certainly not to be discounted. So that's it. I just wanted to give a couple of quick thoughts on some of the things we've found. So I guess what I would say is watch out for piracy. You know, don't discount the
Google's feeding that to people. How do you watch
well,
out?
you know, what can you do? Honestly, not a lot. You can decide whether you want to publish on Google or not, basically.
And to be fair, it's hard to get a pirating job nowadays. So they really don't have the income for apps. So
In all of this has been communicated directly to Google.
It's true.
Even down to just, you know, the like, I guess one of the things that galls me the most is the auto suggest. Now I know that's a data driven thing, but you know, it shows it's indicative of how serious the problem is.
Well, they're
Is
actually,
that driven because you guys are constantly looking for that, so within your system, so that it's skewed because of what you're searching for?
How do you mean?
Because Google will.
Oh no,
Google
no,
knows.
absolutely not. I searched that yesterday, and I don't make a habit of Googling ourselves.
I see. Okay.
So that was literally the first time I had
see.
ever Googled Storytoys.
well, if someone else wants to have a look
Yeah, and
just to
by
see
all
and
means, anybody on a computer can
show
just
it live,
go
take
and-
over the
go and
screen.
type
That
in
might be
Storytoys
interesting.
and you'll see.
can it also be that you have to, your apps are just attractive to pirates? Because you have like a lot of parrots in there.
Yeah, no.
No, the other thing is try Yahoo or Bing and see if
Sure.
see
And
what.
is there any way to do some kind of coding that, like they're doing with DVDs now?
So basically, you know, we had a number of ideas on how we could do that, but ultimately we felt that anything we did could potentially be brand damaging or punitive on the kids that are actually playing with the apps.
I see.
So we made a decision not to.
And you are using Google's DRM protection in your apps?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. To the best of my knowledge, I'd have to double check.
Okay.
But yeah.
And you didn't show a number for iPad versus phone. Do you have one in your head generally?
Yeah, I mean, basically, most of our stuff we're very much designing for based on the larger screen, and I tend to find, you know, in this and in other companies that I've worked for, that the iPhone actually makes up less of our revenues than the iPad, which isn't necessarily typical, but I guess it's probably about it's just a bit less than 50-50, you know, but in favor of iPad. But that's not surprising because the products are fundamentally designed for iPad and also happen to work on phone. you know. I mean, you know, we basically, the bigger screen is just so much more comfortable for kids to use, and I think we'd be fundamentally compromising the experience if we designed for the smallest screen first and expanded out. So.
But you're not gonna write off the phone.
No, absolutely not. I mean, it still provides good sales, and you know, we all know that the running around the supermarket use case, it's the device you have on you that your kid's going to be entertained by. So
if you were to say, and any of you can pitch in here, a message to Google, what would you say?
I think Google need to look at their store. They need to look at how they're handling promotions.
Can you say it right to them directly?
Absolutely,
First person?
yeah.
Larry Page and Sergey, they're right here.
So
Larry, listen up.
I guess before we actually did have quite a lot of initial success on the Google store. I think at one point in time it would have been a much more significant part of our revenue stream. But changes and tweaks that they made to the promotional aspect to the store have made content discovery virtually impossible, unless of course it's for piracy, where Google still works reasonably well. So I think the store needs to be fixed, and the piracy needs to be got under control. Without those things, it's becoming less and less viable to support as a platform.
And I'll put it in language that Google might understand. On behalf of Apple, I'd like to thank you, because you're not slowing down our incredible rate of growth. And we're making a heck of a lot of money. And so if, just keep doing exactly what you're doing, Google, because there's a lot of installed devices out there and a lot of hungry kids who want this content. And the limiting factor in this is just poor software design. And we thought that Google was pretty good at software design. We thought you had some pretty smart people related to things like search and find and discover and collecting information. So maybe that wouldn't be very hard to fix. You've got about 10 really good engineers, put them in a little room, give them some snacks, you got a good gourmet cook, get them cooking, and fix the problem. It won't be that hard. That's what I'd say.
But to be fair to Google, they're still getting the same percentage from those pirated ones, right?
No, they're getting nothing. They're getting the same as what we're getting.
Right.
They're getting nothing.
But the percentage is the same.
I guess.
Yeah, 0.
Yeah, right.
But it does dilute the brand, and it doesn't serve children.
Absolutely. So I mean, we have to seriously think: is that level of piracy? Is it worth putting our products up there for the brand damage that it does?
Exactly. Yeah. Thanks, Emmet.
Thank you.
Now, we don't need to go in any order in particular. If you want, go ahead.
We're just talking more about selling these things? Is that what we're talking about?
Well, the idea is selling pixels, and you can respond to Emmet, or if you have something.
Yeah, though, as far as, say, I'm trying to get on the airplane, I'm not getting on it for some reason. It says I'm on. Buying to me.
Showing up on the screen at the 7-Eleven.
Oh, wait, right.
Put your glasses on.
Yes.
At the ATM machine.
Doesn't matter.
7-Eleven is.
But
There you go.
Yeah.
You're there.
Okay. Well, this is not that big of a thing, other than to say that in the kids market, I'm finding that print, I hate to always go back to print because this is an ebook conference, is still really a big deal. And the distribution model is still there for kids' books. So I'll get a book out with Scholastic, say, and it just gets into 80% of the schools or something, and say a book like Behind Enemy Lines will sell like over 500,000 copies, like in no time at all. And then I'll put an app out there on my own, and we'll sell a few thousand, and it's very exciting and it's a sense of control. But there's still none of that distribution that I'm looking for as an author who's looking to sell these things.
If you look at the model of the Scholastic Book Fair, that parents perceive that as curated content, directly targeted to their kids, so there's nothing really like that for apps. So
Right.
mostly right now, people stumble into apps or hear about them through word of mouth.
And they used to sell software. I mean, I know Living Books was sold by them, and they sold a lot of titles for us at the book fair.
And erasers and back scratchers.
That's right.
Little toys. And also the thing is, and I'll stop with the big publisher thing, but they've been, I'm still a fan of them because they can get out there, and also with the piracy thing. If somebody has a PDF of one of my ebooks and they're spreading it around for free, like Random House sets up a site, a piracy site, where you just go in, you put in your title of your book, and you give them the link, and I think 85% of the time, within 2 days, that link comes down.
Wow.
And so they're really hardcore about fighting that, because as an individual, I would not know how to, put it out. It's Crabhill Press, I wouldn't know where to begin to fight piracy. And that would be so upsetting to me, I can't even tell you. To just think that, I had no idea that was going on at that rate.
So they understand how percent works.
Yes, I guess they do, and I do find that a fun thing, because I'm not, anyway, I'm not fine, yes, I get your.
No, I'm thinking of
Well, it's ironic that this is what Dickens was fighting when he came to the U.S., in the 19th century, the whole copyright issue and the pirated editions of his books. So it's not new. Theft is not new in human history.